Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to Prime Hour. This evening we are going to, as tradition demands, look at what is happening in our respective relationships and marriages. This evening we are looking at how long the dating process should last amongst our young boys and girls. Should it take 2 weeks? Should it go for 2 years or 4 years? What should actually happen? In the case of Christians who are in the dating process and already making love, should a pastor actually bless that process, and how long should that happen after discovery? If time permits, we also are going to be looking at our second topic for tonight, which has to do with the issue plaguing many brothers today who have invested very heavily on sisters before getting married to them. Should that happen? Should our brothers be investing in sisters to whom they are not yet married? And what should happen if the sisters discover that you are not compatible to them after heavy investment? Should they just walk away? How do you handle such matters? We are discussing this with our permanent panelists who are in the house. We are in the company of our permanent consultant, Apostle Ambe Valentine. Ngwa, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, Cameroonians. Welcome to Prime Hour. Good evening, my co-panelists, Apostle Esingie and Reverend Tantoh. Great minds that have been sharing their own ideas in building of relationships. Thank you for being part of this program today, and stay tuned as we bring you very educative information. God bless you.
We also in the company of Apostle Alfred Esingie. He's an expert in the domain. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, my fellow panelists. I am excited to be here again today. Anytime I am privileged to give out knowledge, I am very happy.
Reverend Tantoh Kenneth is also an expert in the domain of what we discuss regularly on Tuesdays. He's in the house with us. Good evening, Reverend, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. Good evening. Good evening to Apostle Ambe, Apostle Esingie. Good evening to our listeners, our viewers. It is such a privilege for us to be on again this evening, and we believe we're going to really rub our minds together and have a great time.
We are going to be having contributions from Bermuda through Mrs. Asanji Yvette, who is on standby. We're going to be listening to her, also participate and give her knowledge on what we are discussing this evening. Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, I will start with you. We're talking about dating, the dating process. How long should that last? According to you, you have seen many persons, you have observed, you've treated cases. Should it last for 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 months, or a year, or 2, 3, 4?
Thank you, Mr. Leo, for this question. I'm going to be very practical in answering this particular subject today because there's a lot of controversy, especially in the church. Mm-hmm. How long should people stay in courtship before they get married? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is criticized when it's too early. For instance, in a month's time, they will say, how long have you taken to know the person? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's exaggerated, 6 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. And so these two extremes are most of the times the reason why such a topic is supposed to come up. There's this extreme of over duration, and then there is this quick response to it, which to the best of my understanding, and as someone who has treated cases like this, it varies with the individuals. Mm-hmm. Yes, everybody has a sense of understanding with the partner they want to marry. It will not take some people up to 3 years to understand a person. It may take them 2 months, 3 months, depending on their aptness and their ability to carefully study the opposite sex. Mm-hmm. It can take some people 6 months, it can take them 1 year. Sometimes, in most cases I've seen, relationships delay because of financial reasons as well as family resistance. Mm-hmm. For instance, I've seen couples, relations that have stayed for 6 to 7 years, not because the man did not want to marry the woman, but because the woman's family did not want the man as per se. And the woman also did not actually want to let go of the man. So this dragging here and there cost years to pass. To me, if you're a woman, somebody is standing with you with such reason of your family, means the man is serious. So we should not conclude that every delayed courtship is a sign of frustration or is destroying a woman's life. If a man can stand with you for 6 to 7 years and your family does not want you and the man is still waiting, then that man is a man to go along with, to me. And then some people also come, they hasten the relationship because there are a lot of skeletons in their cupboards. They want things to be done so fast so that they will cover up, for instance, some men who are impotent, some ladies who are not having wombs, they have done away with all their children in their life before that time. Then they will just come to hasten things. Others, they come recently, within a short while, they are pregnant because of infidelity. They are pregnant because of immorality, sorry, and then suddenly there's a pregnancy, and then they are trying to wear a wedding gown to cover the pregnancy and expedite the relationship. So it now varies, but I want to speak extremely and intensively on this issue of the duration when it prolongs. When it prolongs, it's a resistance from both families, and two of you are willing to persevere for the 5 to 6 years. I can guarantee you, both of you love yourselves, because no man will be ready enough to wait for 5 to 6 years when a woman's family is resistant, and vice versa. But if a man keeps telling you that he is still thinking about the marriage, and he keeps keeping you for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years, sister, you are in a wrong boss. You are in one chance. You have entered one chance in relationship. A man who is really determined and serious to get married will get married to you. And one of the funniest things that people sometimes pretend that they cannot marry, that they don't have money. You don't need money to get married. I'm talking as somebody who got married from nothing. Immediately you engage the process, favor begins to come, if truly that's your right partner. Most of the time you hear somebody say, I don't have money, yet he's spending money every year and every day on different things, and that one is not a priority. If a man truly loves you, the first thing he wants to do, he wants to own you. He wants to own you. He wants to own you completely. Now you are still in a relationship, fiance, girlfriend, boyfriend, it is not guaranteed. When a man truly loves you, the first thing he wants to do is to take full possession of you, and that is what engages the process of marriage, because marriage legalizes your relationship with a person and gives you some basic rights and even legal rights over the person that just a mere relationship of boyfriend and girlfriend, fiance, can never do. That's the sign. Another thing, if somebody comes into your life and you are fast enough to understand, because some people are very smart enough, are simple who have engaged in December and gotten married in February, and the marriage is successful. I've seen others who have stayed for 4 years in courtship, and after they got married, the marriage scattered. I've seen people who have fasted and prayed and said, God spoke that this is my husband, and they entered into the marriage, didn't stay to 1 month, and I was wondering where the words of God went to. So I want to lay emphasis on the fact that if somebody comes into your life and you are sharp enough to understand the in and out of the person, because I don't need to take, for instance, I cannot take up to a year to study somebody.
Okay. Apostle Esingie, how long should sisters and brothers stay in courtship? He raised the issue of a man taking time to study. At times it is the girl who says, give me time, let me check, let me time, okay, let me think, give me time, let me pray. How long?
Marriage should not just happen.
Okay.
Marriage takes a process. This process does not begin in a day. Does not begin when you start wanting to marry. It begins even before you start desiring to marry. I wonder how people will say that they didn't have money to marry, or they are engaged for 5 years because of challenges. I used to tell people even on Facebook, I told them the best thing to do is you must be prepared to the brim before you make a step of getting to take a woman. People usually say in this adage, says, if you want to eat the food of elders, you must be ready to dance the dance of elders. You can't be eating elders' food and when the dance comes, you don't want to dance. The length of time that a relationship should have, it should be at least at most a year. If there are some other unforeseen challenges that will come in these 2 years, I come again, it should be at most a year. And if there are some little hitches, unforeseen circumstances, it should then go to 2 years. Why did I say that? It is not today that you heard about marriage. It is not today that you knew that you were going to get married someday. The preparation of marriage does not begin when you feel that you are ready or you feel that you're mature. It begins from the day you are told that there is something called marriage. It means that because some people, they start saving some money for them when they were early, when they were young, they are saving money for them for their university education. I have seen a lot of people doing that. Families are making bank accounts, keeping them for their children. A lot of their accounts now in certain banks which are geared towards children, their university education, and maybe they want to travel abroad for other studies. Why can a young man not begin to plan from an early age? The day you have 5,000, you keep 2,000, say this is for my marriage. The day you have 10,000, you keep it, this for my marriage. So that when it comes to the time of your marriage, you had already kept something aside, which if people want to help you, they may just need to chip in some small things and put up the other things. And now we are also trying to insist on the point that you must not necessarily do a fabulous wedding. You can just maybe take it to the church, to your parents, and then, you know, meet some of those their basic things they're asking you to bring, and then later on you do that. So marriage should be looking at 1 year, at most 2 years, because they will say that, all right, this 1 year you prepare, you were trying to arrange some things, and some unforeseen circumstances came in. Everybody, every man, as I'm talking now like this, from the time you start hearing that there is something marriage, there is something, someday you're going to get married, please put something aside for that purpose, so that you don't keep somebody's daughter for too long. You keep somebody's daughter for too long and you are hoping that things will just work well like that. Or someday you will marry her after 5 years, and some of you end up giving birth to 7 children, 3 children, 4 children, 5 children, because you are lasting for too long. Those relationships that go in for too long, they end up with a lot of casualty. Because some of them, they say the woman broke my heart. Some of them, they say the man broke my heart. Some of them, children come in, unwanted pregnancies and all the like come in. Some of them, they have to commit several abortions during that period only to hide shame, their face from shame from the public. A lot of people in this kind of relationship, because I was asking a question on the net, that can a man be in a relationship for 3 to 5 years without making love together or without having things to do together? And a lot of people come and say it cannot work. It cannot happen. It cannot. When we say it cannot, there are also, in every case, there are exceptions. There are some few cases that may say they will resist that temptation, either because of their religious belief, or because of their self-discipline, or because of distance. Distance can cause people to stay like that without doing anything, and it will work very well. But if you are together every day, the lady comes to your house, wash dresses. The lady comes to your house, cook for you. The lady, you know, you want to go to study, you have to go with the lady. They see you everywhere. In the market, they see you everywhere. And everywhere, you are on net, you are on phone and everything.
Yeah, but Apostle, you're talking about the men who are not ready, who think that they should have money. What about the case of women who say you should wait? How long should you wait?
Now, for the any lady that who tells a man to wait, it means the lady herself is not prepared for marriage. Preparation of marriage begins from childhood, and as a matter of fact, it is the women that are more prepared for marriage than even the men, because it is always said that someday you go marry. That's how parents always prepare girls. They say you will marry someday, so they start preparing them. They teach them how to cook, they teach them how to do this because of your husband. They say if you do this, your husband will be angry. If you do this, your husband will be angry. But the truth about it is that at the end of the day, the boys are not taught all those things early. So the girls, if you are a girl and you're past the age of 15, 17, 18, and you are not yet vested with information of knowing a right partner, I don't need 1 year to know a man. The man you want to go in for marriage, you don't need 1 year to know him. You don't need, because you can still spend 10 years and not know a man. There are people that have been in marriage, they have even been in marriage for many years, 25 years, and they still divorce at the end. Because they did not, you can never know a man. So when you want to say you want to make a step to know a man, you must have already known the basics of how to know the right partner for your life. You must have already known how to profile a man, like how the love doctor used to say here, that you must learn how to profile a man and know how to go about that.
Warm greetings to you all. The degree of love and preparedness in both parties determines the length of courtship. When the two start fornicating, that is enjoying what was normally supposed to be consumed. after tying the knot, they forget about the marriage ritual. What is done first? Know that the people are honest to their instincts and emotions. So Remy is writing them. But Reverend Tantoh, should there be some time specifications for the case of some Christians? You have them and you understand that this brother is courting this sister. Do you give them time to say by this time we should start, we should celebrate you? Or you just watch them enjoy themselves till when they think that they should come?
Okay, I think we have broadened our discussion because initially we were talking about dating, which is just one aspect of the premarital phase. The premarital phases are dating, enter the courtship, and then engagement before the marriage.
Okay.
I think some relationships stay too long because the two parties were in fact, they just began it based on excitement. When people are ready to marry, the signs are they're clear. In fact, you'll be able to identify that these two are ready to marry, especially on the side of the man. It will be difficult to have a kind of fixed duration to attribute to each of these phases because it is always good for a couple or a couple to graduate from one phase before entering another. Dating, what is this dating we're talking about? It's just a period of acquaintance, a period where a man sees a woman, is attracted to the woman, and maybe makes his advance. And the moment the woman accepts the advance, the relationship is supposed to graduate from this dating thing we're talking about into courtship, where the two start studying one another. They start discussing and looking at the possibilities and seeing the compatibilities and seeking for premarital counseling during this period of courtship. When the relationship within this phase of courtship advances to another level, engagement now is entered into, at which level family gets involved. So there are people who will not graduate early. Like the Bible says in Galatians chapter 4 and verse 1, that there are some people who are actually, the heirs, but they delay their process of coming to possession because they have not matured. There are people who don't mature. In a relationship where you see the two they appear not to be pulling along well, it is even not, there's even no need for them passing into the next level. They should just dissolve the thing and part their ways. So the issue of having to attribute a fixed timeline that we must court for this time is not good. I want to take sides with what Apostle Esingie said, that it is good for the relationship to be maximum 1 year. For me, this 1 year should include both the dating and the courtship. Dating is not supposed to be for too long because it is a period within which they are just, they are just trying to get acquaintance. So if the man has already asked for the woman's hand in marriage and the woman is turning like a Pentium 2 computer that is loading, unloading, 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 unloading. Finally, is it that she herself is not ready for marriage or what? And it takes me to say that young people, when they are approaching the age of marriage, or even before getting to the age of marriage, make sure that your life goals are actually set. What do I really want to become? What do I want to make of my life? There are people who will get married at, call it 35. It means you did not look at your life from the end. When you look at your life from the end, for instance, that when I'll be getting retired, you get retirement, let's say at 60. If you are getting retired at 60, and because of late marriage, your first child is still trying to write baccalaureate or O-level, to say not even up to baccalaureate, already that is a serious issue because at that time, the finances are a challenge for you to, to educate the children, and the strength to play the role of a referee that you're supposed to play in the life of a child is no longer there. To be shouting, stand here, sit there, no, don't do. The strength is no longer there. So it's good that as you are aging and reaching a certain level, your kids are also supposed to have reached a certain level of autonomy that you don't have to be running behind them again because the strength is not there, the finances are not there. So you must plan your life beginning from the end. You begin from the end and like, okay, if I'll be retiring at 60, it's good I should marry at this time. You know, when you have that kind of goal, you have that kind of vision for your life, it guides you so that you will not become a playboy. You know, you start a job, for instance, a young guy, you start a job, and you want to test about 12 different girls before you end up settling in marriage. Yes, already that's a very bad sign that you are not responsible.
Okay. Good evening, sir. I wish to ask if it's advisable for a guy and a lady can be in a relationship for 5 years higher, so as to help build a solid future together and then get married in the 5th year of dating. Is it wise to date for 5 years or more? Because we want to understand our partners better.
I think any relationship that will require 5 years to materialize. It was not a relationship at the beginning, because I think this thing comes because I think most of the time people have issue with this because their original intent of relationship was not marriage. If the original intent of dating is marriage, I don't see why it should take 5 years. To me personally, I always give my advice personally is maximum 2 years, minimum 6 months. This is my own advice I usually give. I always tell somebody, say, what if the person says, wait, ma, go finish school, come. I say, then leave marriage, finish the school. When you are finishing the school, you do it. It means you are not ready. School can still be one of your goals that you want to attain before getting married or whatever it is. If that is an issue that is stopping you, you are not yet ready. Whether it's the money, emotionally, or life goals, whatever. So I think 5 years is too much for there's a lot of things that can go wrong in that 5 years. And the worst one is if after that 5 years, it does not materialize into relationship. That's the character that causes suicide and bombings and killings and knives and all of those things. So I think maximum should be 2 years. For me, that's the general counsel I usually give. Maximum 2 years. That means we are taking into consideration that you are getting to know the person. Some people might be slow learners, some people might be fast learners, and then some people might be rounding up something in their life that is establishing them, or any mishap, or maybe you can even go to the parents. Some parents might resist, and we give some of that time to give balance. So I always say maximum 2 years and then minimum 6 months, because that 6 months is necessary. Don't just jump into marriage. You need some time, because people can hide their real character in a very short period of time. But when you give time, people's true natures are actually revealed.
Good evening, Mr. Liu and panelists. In the days of our parents, this proposal of marriage at dawn, same day the girl is born, and it works for life without problems. But now, a day is a matter of months and year, with divorce being the master of the day. John is writing from Wabane. Apostle Ambe may have to react to that. But let's take the first intervention of Mrs. Asanji Yvette from Bomenda.
Mr. Leo, good evening to the apostles and good evening to our televiewers. The time period between dating and marriage, if we want to look at the period of time, should it be short, should it be long? First, I will say that dating is a period when you just get to meet somebody. It's the initial stage of meeting somebody, and you are hanging out with that person to know who the person is. Now, dating has a good number of potential ends. It means it can end up in anything. Some people date just for fun. Some people date with intentions that they want to know if each other, or if they are suitable for each other, you know, with the aims of marriage. But at the end of the day, dating has a lot of different, or it can end in different ways. But when we talk about courtship now, which is different from dating, you see that courtship has one potential end. The purpose of courtship is marriage. That means couples have moved from the level of just getting to know each other. They are now into something serious, which is defined. And they now call it courtship, where even family members and friends and other people get to know about the relationship. But at the stage of dating, it could be kept secret. You know, that's just like you say, on your knees, get set. So you're just getting set to enter into a relationship. But when you have now settled down your ideas about who that person is, you want to settle down with that person, we can now say you are into courtship, and that's when you now get to tell family members and others about the relationship. So with this courtship now, when should couples move from courtship now into marriage? It now depends. Like, for example, you can have two students who are going to, maybe they're in a university. They could agree that, okay, after say 2 years or when they will graduate, or 3 years when they will graduate, they're going to get married. So they are in courtship. At least their relationship has been defined and they have a precise program equally. But being in courtship with no precise program is dangerous, because some people end up courting for even 9 years. And that has left some people heartbroken. Like one of my quotes read, the longer you date someone, the more you see reasons why you should not marry that person. Because you've known that person in and out, you've known the person's negative aspects, traits, and sometimes you think it's better to start a new relationship, which is not obviously the solution.
Thank you, Ms. Asanji Yvette. Good evening to all in the studio. My question goes directly to all my love doctors in there. What if you know someone very much well, and then the person is your neighbor, and you decide to marry him or her and sponsor the person instead of paying the bride price? How should such be handled? From Wobeni is writing from Manju. I'm sure your question has to do with the second topic. Good evening, Mr. Liu. To all of you in the studio, warm regards to Apostle Ambe and Esingie. Please, how do young people hear God when on the road to starting a family? Is there a particular way God must speak to them? Caleb is writing from Ewane, the Apostle Ambe. Please take note of that. I'd like you to react to that. Greetings to the panel. Recently, some women started proposing to men due to the fact that the men are not making any move. Is it advisable? Eta is writing from the United States of America. Please, let's take note of these questions. What if you guys are ready and you don't have finance to fulfill the requirements? Will you continue to stay in the relationship until you have money to do everything? Apostle Ambe, yes.
He wasn't serious.
Okay.
There's something we call playboy and playgirl. People want to get married. Don't just get into relationship with their emotions. They get into relationship with their mind. They go at the back of their mind when there's a responsibility they have to fulfill in order to spend their lives together. That consciousness is what makes you enter into a relationship planning already financially on how to make ends meet. Not just to get married and stay in the house, but also to live after the wedding. That's the issue, because if you gather money and get married and bring a woman in the house, what will you feed her with? So when you are entering a relationship with the conscience of getting married, first and foremost, you must look for a permanent source of income. That permanent source of income will enable you marry as well as keep you married.
Because
so this
children will come.
Children will come, other responsibilities will come. So if a young man is asking a question that, what if two of you came together and then there is no money? You guys were not ready to get married.
Okay. This Eta from the United States of America says that, greetings to the panel. Some women started proposing to men due to the fact that the men are not making any move. Is it advisable?
Mr. Leo, that question is very technical and complicated. Okay. And I'm going to answer it very technically too.
And complicated.
Well, very, very complicated too. I don't know if you are a Muslim or you are a Buddhist or you are a Hindu, but we are answering questions here from a global perspective. Despite the fact that we are Christians. We are Christians, we are going to answer it from a biblical point of view, that we must not impose our religion on you. You can be an atheist asking the question, a Buddhist or a Hindu. Let us give you a general perspective. First and foremost, the pride of every woman is when a man approaches her. When a man approaches a woman, it means the woman has value. And culturally or societally speaking, it has always been men approaching women. When a woman approaches man, on the other hand, it is not like it's totally wrong, but because of the way society has coined it, it makes the woman very cheap. Societal perspective. There is a kind of mindset that society has given to us that when you want to break that status quo, it becomes a challenge. Just like some certain things are in the society right now. For instance, they say a woman is a successor in a family. It's like breaking the status quo because successors have always been males. But that doesn't mean that if a woman becomes a successor, it's wrong. It's not wrong. Now, the general mentality is that men have to approach women. Biblical point of view, if a man finds a woman, that's you are a Christian. So it's men that find women. Now, in what circumstance should a woman be asking a man out? By foresight or by default, you are already cheap as a woman according to human perception. But that does not make you cheap, because the woman has feelings the same way a man has feelings. Women admire the same way men admire. Women have taste the same way men have taste. If a woman can go for a particular shoe, a particular dress, a particular car, it means she can go for a particular kind of man. Why are we allowing women just to have taste for shoes, inanimate objects, clothes, cars? Then when it comes to men, which is of their taste, society has coined it in such a way that if a woman does that, it's a taboo. But that's a societal mindset. It's not a reality. So I'm not against the fact that a woman can go towards a man, but there are many ways you can communicate your intention.
A man may genuinely love you, but is scared there.
Yes, let me learn.
Be scared, yeah.
Let me learn. A woman can communicate her intentions, but not directly, like what Ruth did. She went and slept at the feet of Boaz without saying anything. A man can just walk in and say, "Wow, you look handsome. Wow, your shirt is good." Those little praises. Men are people who are carried with such expressions. And immediately you start throwing in those seats, the man will start seeing something different.
You go indirectly.
You can as well see just come on money with a very good shirt, say, "Brother, I felt like this one will fit you." You buy the shirt. Immediately you start offering gift, the man's perspective. You have communicated your intention without actually communicating.
It breaks barriers, huh? Yes.
Yes.
I thought this lady was too, but that's a green light. Let me just take it. Yep. Good evening to all in the studio. Long courtship should be discouraged because most of us women are the ones to augur more because keeping years together, having sex will always lead to at least one abortion. And at the end, you see women running up and down because they are looking for a child, and men will always go somewhere to have a child. The high rate of abortion is the issue of studying people for long. Annie Yefon is writing from Yaoundé. Apostle Alfred, you must say something about that. Good evening, Mr. Kum and the powerful panelists. I would love you to ask Apostle Ambe Valentine to dissect between being ready for marriage and being prepared for marriage. It's Nelson Gomez writing from Sangmalima. Good evening. Knowing the right partner for just 2 weeks is better than knowing the wrong partner even for 10 years. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. I want to disagree on the time frame for Apostle Alfred is talking about. People are even engaged for 2 months and get into a happy marriage, whereas some are in a relationship even for 2 years and get into a wrong marriage. Akiambong is writing from Yaoundé. That is exactly what he said. Yes, I think he said what you just said. Akiambong from Yaoundé. Hello, dear. Good evening. I followed the work and okay. Sorry, Mr. Leo. Can I? No. That's not what we are talking about here. Please. Yes, but I want you to react to what somebody just said. But beyond that, because she says that staying too long in a relationship means that something will be happening, and because maybe in church you will not want people to know that this is what is happening. You impregnate, there is abortion, you impregnate, and there is abortion. And yes. Do you also think that churches contribute in keeping people for long?
Exactly. That is exactly what happens in the society right now, where there are a lot of abortions because people are afraid to be ashamed in the public. And the way our churches have also made it in such a way that if you are pregnant before marriage, you'll be humiliated and maybe suspended and maybe put back behind the bench, or maybe you may finally not even get married. And in some cases, they will cancel the marriage. And in some cases, they will say you will not put on the white garment again, the veil. And so many of these girls so many of these girls are not ready. But now, Mr. Leo, everybody that has had a relationship for at least a year can testify that it has not been easy, especially when it comes to pregnancy. They will tell you, because a woman is more excited sexually when she is in her on her unsafe period. When a woman is unsafe, she is more excited sexually, and sometimes she will even want to resist, but the man puts a little bit of effort, and she will even tell the man that I am unsafe, and the man will say, we'll just leave and we'll go burn the pikin, or we'll do this. And after you get pregnant, you say you are foolish. How could you not? How could you not? And the next thing is that you are putting away that pregnancy. So I want to say that it is really hurting for people to keep a relationship for very long, because so many, as I'm talking now like this, some girls are crying because the last abortion they had nearly took away their lives. Some of them thought that they were specialists. They have spent money, because abortion takes more money than the money you would have spent to go and pay for dowry. Because you want to go for an abortion, you have to spend some money. You want to go to abortion, and now many of these small chemists you see around these small distances, they are doing abortion issues now. You just go there, they give you an injection and those kind of things. That's what is happening out there. You go to maybe the Marseille Central or this kind of market, you see those medicine people sitting there, you think that they are only selling these things. Much of what they get money from is through abortion. And what happened is because of these people who keep relationship for a very long time. Prolonged relationship.
Yeah.
Yes. And you keep it like that, and the thing is sweeting you. Sometimes the woman sits and you see the laps. Sometimes you see she moves and the hips. And sometimes as a Christian, you may even sleep with her and pray and cry to God that it will never happen. But before you discover the next week, it still happens again. And the girl said, but you told me it was not going to happen. But how did you as a girl also open the legs? It simply means long relationships are not healthy, especially for youths and also for Christian people. Because of what?
You see, it is sweeting them.
Yes, it's sweeting, very sweeting. Because it is nice. That atmosphere. That some women know how to do this thing. When the woman has put on that beautiful perfume and comes around, and some of these girls who intentionally buy these products, who grow up the hairs of their body, and it becomes to attract that young boy. The boy is trying to worship the Lord and to serve the Lord peacefully, and every time the boy sees you, it's really like that. And then now look at it, look at this. Like Apostle Ambe said something here. Do you know something? That a girl may ask you after you have been with her for 3-4 years, where is this relationship heading to? That is what she has just proposed to you. Where is this relationship heading to? You either make it clear now, or you let me go and get another person. After all, there are other people behind me. There are technical ways that girls have angst. They have axed out this thing because it is going longer than expected. Many other people are running behind you, and especially some of these boys who are like handbags. If they are engaged to you, they will be around you everywhere, every day, blocking every other man that wants to come around. It's so terrible. And I want to beg some of these girls who are out there, please, I want to tell you, you make yourself to be very honorable. Don't accept a man who cannot prove to you that he's ready to marry you between 1 year and 2 years. Don't accept a man yet. You people can just be friends. You can accept to be friends. Friendship is accepted. You know, acquaintance is accepted. But not engaging somebody by telling that I want to marry you. And then the next thing that comes in is sex. And sex, because those products that people eat today, the food that people eat today, also stimulates this adrenaline or this sex desire in people. Because if you read over the internet, they will tell you, if you want to have exciting sex or everything, they will tell you that eat this and eat this and eat this. But a lot of people have been eating it, and it stimulates you without you understanding. And the next thing you find yourself is, you are hot. You want somebody to quench it down. The next minute is your fiancé that is always around you.
Okay, Reverend Tantoh, do we also think that some churches are helping to keep this courtship or dating for so long, because they will tell the girl, you need to fulfill this, and the guy, you need to fulfill this, and maybe the guy is dating the girl in church and is afraid to open up because they may not be able to fulfill some of those laws, regulations put in place by the church?
Well, I think the church may have a minimal contribution vis-a-vis family. I've attended a traditional marriage ceremony in Yaoundé that the couple spent more than 4 million francs CFA for the traditional marriage. And one observation I made in the family we went to is that, you see young girls with 3 kids, 2 kids, 3 kids, and they are there. Because if you're not somebody who is well planted, where are you going to take 4 million francs from to go to, marry a lady here traditionally? You won't be able.
So the families themselves?
Families, in fact, it begins from families. Some families will tell you they have spent so much on their daughter and they have done this, they've done that, as if the boy also came out from a tree. So I think the society is supposed to collaborate in order to kick out this vice of prolonged relationships. As you say, Mr. Leo, there are churches that are contributing to this also. But we think except the church, there is a greedy motive behind it. A church is supposed to be there to help people settle well in marriage, because if people are staying for long in a dating process or in a courtship process for their own benefit, it's not bad. But if it is there for maybe for the personal interest of some individual or groups of individuals in that church, that's where there's a serious problem. There are moments where maybe by virtue of a spiritual ministration, or by virtue of the observation that their spiritual leaders have made on vis-a-vis the relationship, they could say, no, wait for a while, go gradually, because there's sometimes, personally, I don't tell people break up in this relationship. I don't do that. I don't do that, because you can end up becoming an enemy to people because they thought they found the love of their life, and you came in to be, and at the end maybe they go and fix their things, or you become the third person singular while they are they are enjoying themselves. So I always say these are the stakes. Take a decision. Yeah. Like personally, I don't insist that I must counsel people because they are members of our church. I don't do that.
Okay.
Yes, you have to have a certain level of it, but these are the stakes in your relationship. So, concerning the role of the church in prolonged relationships, I think people, church leaders who do that, they have to revise their policy, because there is supposed to be at least a kind of policy for how they handle relationships.
Some relationships will not go through because the church thinks that
they put in some amount of money that you must produce first. Sometimes there are some pastors that will ask you to sow. You will sow suit for them. If not, that will not go. Some pastors will ask for goats. For goats. You have to produce goat for them, provide goat for them. They will, sometimes the counseling committee will sit on your marriage and will never want to release it.
Yeah, and that is one of the things I hate, this issue of counseling committees.
Counseling committee.
That Sanhedrin like that is usually a problem to many relationships, because I had a case where the mother...
An elder has a problem with
exactly. I had a case where the mother of the girl was a member of that committee, and the guy was a truck driver. He said, no, my daughter cannot. So
can never marry,
everything,
and that is where the problem is.
Advocated to the other members, and they frustrated the relationship.
Mommy deaconess. Mommy, be careful with mommy deaconess. If you look, you know, like you not go marry for the church.
So no, the boy head on the fine.
You don't go marry for the church.
This aspect of committee, it is better for people to undergo their counseling with a couple, or in fact one individual. For me,
counselor,
this issue of marriage committee.
Good evening to the panel. Thanks, Apostle Ambe. Your contributions are powerful and mind-blowing. In a simple say, it is good to make money, get married, and have children early in maturity. Flavius is writing from Douala. Mr. Leo, good evening. My point of view to this topic is different. I discourage dating because during this period, some characters hide their behavior and brought in the house change their behavior. So if I'm a man, then I will hide and monitor I would like to marry, the girl I would like to marry. I forgot to write my name. Cynthia is writing from Melon. Good evening to you, Cynthia. Good evening, Mr. Leo. To me, if you see somebody and you spend at least 1 year, you feel as you can spend the rest of your life with him or her, go ahead and marry, because at times you can spend many years with somebody. You enter the house and still divorce. We don't know who is who. After 1 year, you can just take your own headache and begin to be drinking your para every day. I'm Shantu, writing from Loom. Okay, from Melon, we go to Loom. Greetings, sir. Is it advisable to go in with a lady who is extremely good in almost all aspects, wife material, but not really the one whom your heart beats for? Thanks, Peter Ashu, writing from my tomb, Quen. Okay, house material and, you know, these flashy ladies, yeah. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, what can two people do who love themselves and want to end up together, but one of the parents totally disagree? Should the other partner walk away or still remain waiting on if the other person's parents accept? And please, in this case, how long can the dating last? Abraham is writing from Swahili. Yes, how do we handle this? Should you raise the issue? Should they go on if the parents are resisting?
This is another technical, for some base words, because we are on air and there's some things when we say can affect people. Now, this is my answer to that question. The first thing is this. There is no direct yes or no answer to that question, whether you can just go ahead or not. But I would like to say that we must honor parents. That is the first thing. We must honor parents. I will use myself as an example. When I showed my wife right now to my dad told my wife, "My pikin no go ever marry you." Straight. And I understood for some other reasons, which maybe I might share another time. Now, it was a very crazy thing. And at that point in time, my wife, who knows that I am also very hot, she was expecting the kind of reaction from me, to defend her. And she was amazed at how I took it calmly, understanding that my father is also hot-tempered, who I knew was pushing me to the wall for a reaction that would prolong the thing. I took it very calmly. My uncle was there. I stood. I said, well, he was like, whoa. I said, okay, I will come back again to this matter. That's all. I just did calmly and I left. To cut the long story short, I waited 1 year. These are some of the things, that's some of the reasons I always give 2 years. I waited 1 year again before reviewing the matter. And when I reviewed it, some other things had come in, some other stakes had come in and all of those things. And now he began to see reasons. And at the end of the day, despite everything, that's why even when my father was making his speech on my wedding day, he had to actually tell the woman openly that, okay, I have accepted you, don't feel, because he understood. It was an open thing. He told her very clearly that I don't accept you. Now, why I'm saying this is these things can happen for different reasons. Some could happen for your past, your own past relationship you have had with your parents. Some parents are just mad because, for example, if mommy deny a gay pikin say for my some person say some Bayangi boy but don't broke my heart tabi day university. You know if you ever marry Bayangi boy. I'm telling you, if my pikin whether you if my pikin feel like don't be Bayangi boy, and these are the kind of things we look at. But we cannot just begin to contend with them when we know that the real marriage should involve parents. So we cannot just contend with them and act like their opinion does not matter. But at the same time, that's why I keep saying that it's a technical issue. But as they say, as a counselor, as a pastor, as at least by God's grace, some of us have done this for about 10, 11 years. There are people here have done it for even many more. I think will tell you this. At some point in time, when we also realize that some parents are saying no for no evident reason, or if it is just for a very selfish reason, after a while, we can advise the people that they can move on, but we would tell them the stakes. It is always good to put to them, let them understand the consequences. I always tell them, I put it and say, look, you can go ahead, but if you go ahead, these are the consequences of that action. Because when a person is big, even legally, you can marry without your parents' consent. You just need a witness from both sides who are also mature, and you will marry legally and all of that. So, but we always say that because the truth there is, there are some parents also who just want to make things complicated. So it's a very technical issue. So get a good counselor. You can always meet any of us here to help you if you have such a case.
Anybody that wants to sleep with a lady before marriage is not serious. I also agree with the fact that high bride price is not good. Paul is writing from Mundimba. Paul, I hope you did not sleep with your wife before you got married to her. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and your crew on board. To be precise, Apostle Ambe, I'm Samba from Tombel. Courtship is okay, says the Bible, but what is meant to be. That is why the Bible says what God has put together, nobody should put asunder. Okay. Glenn is writing from Bamenda, says, good evening, Mr. Liu, and your brilliant panelist. Mr. Liu, my husband and I dated for 17 years, and we finally got married 5 years ago. You see, I'm instead bored right now in marriage. Wanky is writing from Bamenda. Wanky is bored after dating for 17 years. Okay. Good evening, sir. What if you date a woman for 2 years and during this period she has been refusing that she does not have a child, and 2 days to the wedding you discover a message in her phone saying that her child is sick and needs to be taken to the hospital, what should you do? I'm Augustine, writing from Bamenda. Augustine, you pray to God for grace. Yes, God will give you grace and wisdom to handle the case. Good evening, Mr. Liu and everyone in the panel. Ferdinand from Boya Town. Please, is it advisable to marry a girl that is older than you for 8 years? Okay. Bonsoir, je me nomme Astrid depuis Betois. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I don't encourage long-term relationship. 50% of it ends in tears. Daddy Kenneth, beautiful contribution. Tala Frida, writing from Douala. Okay. Good evening. Sir, please, my own case is the man whom God chooses for me to marry, but my family don't want him. Princess Rejoice, writing from Douala. Princess, call the counselors. They'll tell you what to do. You may have to marry the man if actually God designated him to be your husband. They will tell you what to do. Apostle Ambe, Valentine Ngwa. Let's take the case for church sisters and brothers. Is it possible for them to date for 2-3 years without having sex? And as a pastor, if you discover that they were already into immorality, what should you do? You send them to backbench to go and repent, or how?
I dated my wife for 2 years. I never sexed with her. An example to that. So if I've gone through it,
yeah,
it's
apostle.
not magic.
It's not everybody who is apostle.
I dated my wife for 2 years for getting married to her, and I never touched her.
Okay.
I have that testimony right in my church. Everywhere, everybody knows it. Now to your question. I believe if you have to obey God's word, it's discipline. God's word is not something that comes on you like a cloak you wear. Everybody listens to teaching. Individuals make decisions how to respond to the teaching. We stay in church, we are taught not to commit immorality. It's your choice to obey or not to obey. God will never come down one day and strangulate you for not obeying his word. God said, I set before you this day life and death. Then he gives you an opportunity to say choose. When God says choose, it means your choice count. Some people think that God is some autocrat and some taskmaster, that he holds a rod in his hand and is following people like some Ganako driving sheep or bird or cows. No. God has always given human being a choice. He will throw it in front of you and say, this is what is good and this is what is wrong. But you have the right to make a choice. So if we are in church and we say, is it possible? It is 100% possible for people to date for 2 years without having sexual intercourse. It's the decision of the individuals in question. In a relationship, the men are the chasing type, the women are the receiving. And a woman has the capacity to sustain a relationship in fidelity than a man.
Yes.
If the man has the drive and the woman tells him, Oga, the time has not yet come, calm down, the man will calm down. But you should know very well. You should know very well that when a relationship is sustained, most of the times it is a woman. I will not tell her for the 2 years I was with my wife, I didn't feel, I didn't have passion, I didn't have desire to make love to her. No. I had it, I had that drive. But she would tell me, Mr. Man, the word of God says so. And if you love her, you will know that she's not showing something bad. Because anybody who loves in a relationship will want to protect your interest and their interest in that relationship. So if a woman refuses her body to you, she's not only protecting her interest, she's protecting your interest. She protects your interest for you not defiling yourself and also not breaking the rules of God. She loves you more. Because anybody who loves you will push you more to practice God's word. And as a pastor, if you realize that some people have broken that vow by sleeping before the relationship or before marriage, we have to understand that making mistakes in the course of a relationship does not make the persons a mistake. That's the truth. So if somebody has fallen into immorality, it does not automatically cancel the marriage because they are humans. They feel for each other. They don't have the tenacity to sustain that relationship till they get married. If they fall on the way, what you have to find out is first, do they love each other? Are they compatible? Are they going the same direction? yes, such things supposed to be brought to place. They have to apologize to God, clean the foundation, start all over again, and then make the relationship formal and bless it so that they don't keep on messing up over and over and over again. I don't think that when people fall in a relationship is a sign that God has not endorsed the relationship. No, we are humans and we are liable to mistakes. We have flesh, and the flesh sometimes is yearning for things that sometimes is not even permitted to touch. So you see even women sometimes in the relationships, they are the one even asking the thing. In this generation we are right now, you have a man that has a drive, a woman that has double drive. A woman's drive is double. That if the man is even trying to hold himself, the woman is saying that, "Abel, leave me that thing." I woke up this 4:30 in the morning with a lady writing to me and complaining from one of the towns in this Cameroon, how the husband is not giving her the thing. I have handled the case until the woman said I should talk to the husband. I told the man that the whole of today was handling by the case.
Okay.
I told the man that, Mr. Man, that thing called sex in a relationship, if that woman will mistakenly, peradventure, by the influence of the devil, fall into the right hand one day where they will give her the services demanded, let's be very careful that you have lost a relationship.
Okay.
That's the truth. Yes. Okay. It's dangerous. I've said it, and I want the man. The man says like you know, if you still like that, we'll normally hand it to you because you'd rather help us in explaining those things.
Let's take the second intervention of Mrs. Asanji Yvette. Please.
So dating shouldn't be long. If the couples have gotten or they have known each other and they have seen that they are good for each other, they want to go into courtship, they should move into courtship. Okay, but they should not rush the process. Now from courtship now, it now depends, like I said, it depends on the couple. But we equally, or we advise, we counselors, we advise that it's not good for somebody, or it's not good for people to be in courtship for too long, especially Christian couples, because you know you can be exposed to a lot of temptations. You're courting somebody, you've grown feelings for that person, you have emotional feelings, emotional connection with that person, and if you're not careful, you know, you can get into premarital sex, which obviously we discourage. You can get into premarital sex just because the period has been too long. In fact, most people that date for too long, they have found themselves falling either once or twice. I'm not saying that that's what happens in all cases, but in most cases. So we discourage courtship from being too long. But courtship should be at least 6 months. When you're courting someone, it should be at least 6 months, maybe to a year. Or like I said, if the couples have a defined program, it could take 2 years. But we discourage anything like courtship for 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 years. No, that's not courtship. You can't keep somebody down in the name of courtship, and then you maybe as time goes on, women get old. Yeah, the unfortunate truth is that women look older as time goes on more than the men. So if she stays for 8, 10 years waiting on you, and then at the end of the day you come and look at her and she's like, "No, you are too old for me, I want to get somebody else," it will become a problem. So the stage or the period from when people should move in from dating to courtship, it depends on them. If they have dated, if they have been together, maybe they've met each other within 3, 4, 5 months, and I've seen that they are fine, they can go into courtship. They go into courtship, and that courtship should be at least 6 months. The reason why we precise 6 months is because within 6 months, you know, no matter how much somebody pretends, you get to know at least the negative part of that person. Even not all, you're going to know some of the negative things about the person. But within 1, 2 months, people pretend a lot. You can get to see just the positive aspects about that person, and then you rush into marriage now. The things you will have seen as part of the courtship, you now start seeing them in marriage, and you start regretting. So the period depends on couples, but it should be between 6 months.
Okay, it should be between 6 months. I'll take some messages and we move on to our next topic for tonight too. Whoever is in a relationship, if you are courting a guy, or the guy is a guy, you are courting a lady, please, it shouldn't be too long. You've gotten from the experts in the house. There are so many temptations. You may be sent to the back bench in church. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Your program is very educative, and many thanks to your experts, men of good. Special greetings to Reverend Tata. It's Constance writing from Bermuda. Good evening to you, Constance. Good. God has forgiven all of us. So, did you say I didn't warn you? Read this Deuteronomy 18, 19, 22. Okay, I have no power, but Jehovah God, I don't know whether this is still part of the program. Yes, good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program. I'm Mercy from Douala. If your husband always keeps his phone away from you, does it mean that he's cheating on you? Yes, he's cheating on you. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's true now. We are pretending every day that there are certain things that may give them heart attack. What now?
We don't really want to get involved.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. No, we discussed about this last week, I'm sure. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Richard writing from Kongsamba. Is it advisable to marry a girl that is more than you in age, about 6 months, 1 year? The other person asks about 8 years. Many persons are concerned about that. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The truth, Mr. Liu, is a lot is involved when it comes to marriage, and the most we can advise is based on our own experience, which are not a standard. Life relates and deals differently with people, so too the conditions that will cause them to find their time of embarking in a marriage relationship. So there is no defined time to me as to how long a relationship should move from dating to marriage. Based on people's different situations, they define their time, be it forcefully or deliberately. My testimony is completely different from any other person's. Two rich people embarking on a marriage relationship is completely different from that of two poor people. The difference in the way our parents, especially the girl's parents, accept it is also a forceful determinant factor. That there is a delay doesn't mean the partner is not prepared or the wrong one. Mr. Liu, me and my wife were ready in every aspect, but it took 13 years for my father-in-law to finally give his consent. We courted for 13 years, Mr. Liu. 13 years today with 3 beautiful kids. We have not quarreled once. So my perception and what I can advise or counsel people on marriage issue is completely different from what a man who courted for 1 year and got married would say. What can a married man without kids or even with kids below 10 years advise a man with grown-ups and maybe graduates? You are married for just 7 years. What can you tell a man married for about 25 years? Counseling, especially in marriage, is just a form of making proposals to be tried for a solution, not the counselor's IO standards. People counsel you on issues they suffer from in silence. Marriage has no standards on what to do. Okay, I took time to read this because he is a member of our panel, Tiku Felix, writing there from Boya. That's why I read the message. It's really very long. Good evening to you, Tiku, brother Tiku Felix, and to Madam. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please, how can you handle a guy who still behaves like a man boy at his 30s? Secondly, he loves transferring aggressions. Damn tired of such attitudes. Okay, Apostle Ambe calls them big boys now. That's why, is it old boys? That's why you say. But many persons are concerned about marrying persons that are older than them.
In a relationship, what matters, we have not considered age as one of the factors. Most of the time we will discuss here. But to me, age, the gap matters a lot.
Okay.
A woman can be older than you for 80 years, and you think you can successfully spend your life with that person.
What if you love them and they love you truly?
So it depends. Some women have very small statures, and if you look at them, you would think that they are 20 years old, while they are some 30
some
years
18 years old. They already look. Yeah.
So some women are like that. You can marry them. They are older than you for 8 years, but it's like you are their father.
Okay.
They are very small.
Okay. So it depends on the stature of the lady, and also the love her.
But I think more so it has to do with mental maturity. There are people who have, they are young, but the level of maturity they demonstrate is right up there compared to some people who are just counting numbers but are not really growing. So I think it has to do much more with mental and emotional maturity than just the age. But I think by law, there is a cut-off age. If a woman is 15, below there must be parental consent for them to marry. The man 18, but if they have reached a level where legally they are good to go, and you see that there is a level of mental and emotional maturity, I don't see why they shouldn't marry.
They should decide for themselves. Good evening, sir. I think in a dating process, both partners should study each other for 6 months, then go for what we call come we stay again for 6 months again. Before going for court, church, or traditional marriage. Because we all need to study our partners before taking a decision. So Seka Macrina is writing from Kumbu Division. Good evening to everyone. Please, at what age should dating start? I'm a single mother. I started dating at the age of 15 and get pregnant at 16. So I don't want my daughter to follow my footsteps. Please, Apostle Ambe, help me in this. Is Vanessa writing from Boya. Vanessa, how will you know if your daughter is starting it even earlier than you? Apostle.
No, at least she's saying so because at least she wants to be cancelled now. I don't think the question is wrong or is bad. What I advise is that you have a very good intention for your daughter, that you don't want what happened to you to happen to her. That's a sign of a good mother that you are. You have to start educating the child right now from where the child is, from 5 years old. Start telling the child the importance of relationship, the place of sex in a relationship, the age group when you can start thinking of accepting a relationship or accepting the other sex. What you educate a child, the lion cub eats raw meat because that's what they grew up seeing the mother eating. Goats eat grass because they saw their mother eating grass. So whatever you give your child from birth is what the child grows with. We are a reflection of where we grew. Your environment, the knowledge you acquire, and the experiences you had are what constitute who you are. So give that child the opposite of what you had, and do not allow the child to go through what you went through. Probably your mother did not give you the attention, the teaching, the closeness, the direction you needed. That's why you were loose.
Okay.
So put this child on a rail, and the child will go through.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm writing from Limbe. If your fiancé is refusing you sex, what does that mean? It's a good fiancé now. How do you want to have sex when you are not married? Yeah.
It's a fiancé.
Yes.
Then you want to be having sex.
Yes. Good evening,
You want to chop
sir.
other food.
Good evening, sir, and everyone in the studio. Sir, please, can someone meet a guy for a few weeks and the guy wants you to stay with him and you love each other? Brenda writing from Limbe. Yes, good.
Devalue yourself.
Good. Good evening. If you propose to a girl for marriage and she accepts, but at the long run you see her being pregnant with someone, but she still tells you to get married to her because she loves you and sponsor the child as yours, what should you do? Fabrice is writing from Santa Fabrice.
Oh, no.
Okay. Good evening to you in the studio. I love your program. It's Serge writing from Bamenda. Greetings to you in the studio. What if I love my husband but my parents don't like the man? You decide. You're a mature person. Please, I need a counselor. My boyfriend keeps saying I don't make him happy. What can I do? Hello, good evening, sir. I'm Vanel from Boya Town. What can a woman really do to please a man? Call the counselors. They will help you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Didier writing to you from Jombe. There is this lady that I introduced to my mother as my wife and she accepted. And all of a sudden, my mother changed her mind for a girl who is my ex-girl and the mother of my kids, but I don't feel anything for her. Okay, what will you do if you are dating a girl for 3 years and she just stop up and tell that it's over? What will you do? Yes, you move on now. We're taking a short break to come back and discuss on our second topic for tonight. Welcome back. You're watching Prime on my Media Prime, and this time around we're going to be looking at another question which has to do with heavily investing in partners to whom we are not yet married. Apostle Ambe, Valentine, Ngwa, we have these stories. Many persons are crying that I invested in this guy for 4 or 5 years. The guy has gone to America. The guy has forgotten about me, gotten married to another one. What should I do? And the guys especially have sent girls to ENS, and when the girls come out, they say, you are not my class. They have sent girls to school. Guys who maybe are mechanics, they send girls to secondary school. Once they get the advanced level, they meet other maybe more handsome or intelligent guys in school and come to say, Bo, your time don't pass. Should a guy or a lady heavily invest in a lady they're not married to?
You know, I'm laughing because I shared this topic today with somebody who gave me a testimony of what happened in Bambalang some years ago.
Okay.
Is that if you take this topic to any ordinary Bambalang person, their reaction will be very negative. I'm sorry to call that track. That some opportunities came in the environment and young men were financially buoyant. And they took the money and began investing in girls, sending girls to ENS, Bamble, some to university, some to different professional schools. When those girls went out, became very professional. The tappers, the hunters. I send them out. When they come, they talk, they were speaking in English, say, I will go to school. Because I'm married or Please, I'm going to be addressing this thing just the way it is. Just follow what I'm saying. Investing in people whom you are not equal to in terms of status, academia, or civilization is risky. Very, very risky. Number two, I would prefer you marry somebody before you invest in the person, rather than investing in somebody and expecting to get married. When you marry, there are some legal bindings that cages the woman around you. And it's sometimes a bit difficult for her to just mess you up. And then equally, even if there's some legal bindings, make sure you also upgrade yourself. Because I've seen where people have decided to travel and make that marriage certificate of no significance. Remember, your marriage certificate has influence and power only within the cycle of your nation. If somebody takes a car here and drives to Abuja or he skips to Senegal, their marriage certificate will have no significance in Senegal. They can go there and settle. So what I would advise is always build people either to your level or you build yourself to people's level. For instance, if you are married to a woman who is more educated than you, I rather prefer you educate yourself. And if you are married to a woman who is lesser than you, I rather prefer you educate her to your standards. If not, it's going to be a very serious problem. But I will always counsel you to be sincere. Always marry a woman for you educate her. Some will tell you that, let me finish school first before I will come to marry you. Sister, finish your school first with your money. I'm not obliged to sponsor you to marry you. There are so many persons that their parents have sponsored and we end up marrying them. You are not obliged. For me, it is not a clause in any condition that I have to sponsor you. So if you think you are still going to school and you really intend to get married to me, let your parents be done with your education, then you come. But if I have to invest in you as somebody I just love, without any intent of getting married, I can invest in you knowing that I'm doing works of charity. Please, I will advise you, never invest in somebody with the intention of settling with the person tomorrow when you know very well that the person can betray you. Prepare your heart at once. Buy your high blood tablet as precaution in case something comes like that tomorrow, because we've seen situations where very critical people have died, some have developed stroke because they've invested all they had in somebody and then somebody turns out tomorrow. On the other hand, we sometimes blame those persons whom much have been invested in them and they turn out to reject. It's very certain. In every society, there's class structure. You go to Britain, you have the aristocratic class, you have the middle class, and you have the lower class. You come to every society. class structure, people always relate with their class. So it is very, very somehow complicated for a lady to have left the university with a master's degree and be able to cope with you, who is a truck pusher. At least that gap is too much. We most of the times throw blames on these persons, but most of the time the person sponsoring the individuals never mention their intention of getting married. They do it with the mentality that with what I have done for this girl, automatically she will just consider and get married. It should be a deal signed, a contract entered into.
The contracts are also
that I'm sponsoring you like this to end up getting married to you. As a matter of fact, let us do traditional marriage if you will want first before you continue, rather than just investing another one day because of what I have done. Because most of the cases, the girls are never told if they are going to be married.
Okay. I greet you all, more grace, men of God. I enjoy all the points you are raising. My guy never apologize when he's wrong. I greet you. Okay. I love what you people are doing. Please, I want Pastor Ambe to help me. My fiance is sick. I don't know if I should go on with the marriage. She is on antiretroviral drugs. I was so devastated when I realized it. We have been together for 3 years and I love him so much. Thanks. Please, Pastor Ambe, help me, please. Can you just write to us after the program? I'll get you connected to Apostle Ambe. Good evening to you all. I think if you see that the person is industrious, you can help them. Good deeds should not be based on what you can get. Just help because you have a good heart, else you will have heart attack. B is writing from Amanda. Good evening to you in the studio. I love the program. I think when you are not yet married to a lady or a man, you have no financial obligations to him or her. It is the obligation of their parents. Anything you do for a lady or a man should be out of your kindness and not as an obligation. This is a longer writing from Ambe. Good evening, sir. I love your program. More grace to you all in Jesus' name. Is Dennis writing from Limbe. Hello, good evening. To in the house, thank you for this awesome program. It's really educative. There is this girl I love and want to keep, but she's chubby and 10 days older than me. We really love ourselves. Is it advisable to keep her? Yes, I don't know what is wrong with that. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm in a relationship of about 8 months. Now at the start, I thought she's the one, but along the line, I know she's not the one for me, but she thinks I am the one for her. What do I do? Because I feel nothing about the relationship. I'm Preda neighbor writing from Kribi. From Kribi, I think they say it's better to, it's one day, it's better to call off a broken engagement.
And
okay.
never marry out of pity. I repeat, never. If anybody wants to marry you out of pity as a woman, you are being bought as a slave. And you as a man getting married to a woman out of pity, you are enslaving yourself. Never do that. No matter how costly it may be to separate and how hurtful, do it for eternal security than to temporarily marry somebody out of pity and face casualties tomorrow. Never, never.
Okay. Let's get the reaction of Mr. Asanji on this topic.
Once more, good evening, Mr. Leo. So we're looking at the second topic, if you should invest heavily on a man or a woman before marriage. I think we have been talking about this. Seriously, I presently have a case that is life-threatening and is involving the same kind of thing. We have discouraged the aspect of men, especially because it always goes on the other way around. Like most often men spend a lot on women. We have discouraged that and we keep saying it. And I keep saying it even to my followers. They know. I will tell you up front, a woman is not a man's responsibility till after marriage. If you're not yet married, you are your parents' responsibility. If a man is doing something for you, he is doing it out of care, out of love. It is not an obligation. It is not his duty to take care of you financially. So you are not his responsibility financially. But any man too that also goes into spending huge sum of money on a lady that you are yet to marry, you know that you are taking risk. You are taking risk. And the only thing I can tell you is this: if you are really interested in helping that person, marry the person, keep at home. Okay, marry the person first, then go on to spend whatever amount you want to spend on them. At the end of the day, they are already your wife. You know, she's already your wife, and you will not have any regrets. Even if she wants to like start behaving funny, you are already married to her. Don't spend on a woman that you are yet to marry. Please. Some men go as far as taking total responsibility. Like the case I'm handling now. The man does not only take total responsibility over the lady, she took total responsibility over the entire family. Doing a lot for the parents, for the mom, doing a lot for the other siblings. That's dangerous. You are not married to that person. One thing is that as time goes on, people change. People change. If you want to invest and then there's all proof, all assurance that, okay, yes, we're going to get married in the future. And then as time goes on, that person gets to change their mind. Sometimes it leads to death. I'm talking about the case now. Somebody could mention the fact that I will sell my soul to the devil and let this lady know that you should never joke with anybody. You should never play with people's heart, people's finances, and people. You can imagine. That's how serious the case I'm handling is. I mean, it's life-threatening. So no man should take responsibility over a woman he is yet to marry.
Also, Alfred, a singer. I don't know whether you have cases and what you advise.
I don't know why I have a contrary view of this whole thing. I have a contrary view on certain things. How do you quantify emotions? How do you quantify sex? How do you qualify them? If you think that sleeping with a woman for 7 years is not worth spending 1 million on the woman, it means that you are not a human being.
The man of God, you just said that they should not have sex before marriage.
I just told you that I have my own point of view.
Okay.
Most people who spend on women sleep with them.
Okay.
It is the sex they have with the girl that push them to do those kind of things. There is a way a girl will give you sex and you will spend 1 million. If you think I'm lying, go and ask Momas. They will tell you. These big men who give women money. It is mostly poor people who complain about this issue of spending money on women. It's poor people. The rich people spend the money and they don't even want you to pay it back.
Yes, but but if you are poor, if you are poor, you are doing that.
Yes.
Knowing fully well that it is an investment for our children. Yeah. I'm sending her to school because when I get married to her...
You are trying to educate me on that one now. Yes. All of us have held that point and the whole population have heard that this. But I have a contrary point. Because some men need to come to realization. Some men need to come to realization. Because I think that the spirit transfer during sex is stronger than even the money you spend on a woman. The spirit transfer that you have with a woman is stronger. A woman's spirit can useless your life for the whole rest of your life. That's why some of these guys who have treated women carelessly, they can tell you that their life has never been fine. Some of them have gotten married and their homes are not fine because of that exchange of spirits. If you are able to sleep with a woman even for 1 year, to spend 2 million on that woman, it's not a problem.
Even if you are poor?
If you are educating a woman, you are educating the society. Not just for yourself and your children. And I think that anybody who thinks that you don't need to get married, you want to start having this cohabitation and everything, anything you spend or anything you see, take it. Okay. Because it is a sacrifice you make to your community and to your society.
Okay.
And this is it. Let me tell you something. Let me just...
You're investing to build a community.
You are building the society.
And the
you are building the community. And it's like a lucky game. Relationship is like a lucky game. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Yes, it's like a lucky game. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Okay, now let me ask you a question. How many billionaires or millionaires can be crying that they spend money on somebody and the person is educated and then the person did not finally marry them? Many of them will not cry. Because
they have money now.
They have the money. Now, most of the people who don't have money are the ones who want to enjoy things illegally. You want to sleep with a woman illegally? You will start spending illegally. How will a boy work? You do Okada work and you work about, let's say, 10,000 a day, and the next thing you are doing is going to a girl's house to go and give. You don't even have time for your parents. Your parents are in the village suffering, and you go and give a girl, a university girl. You are an Okada person. You give a university girl money. You buy gas, you pay rent, and you are doing all those things. What are you thinking?
But you just endorse that now. Is that not normal?
No. I did endorse that. But I'm saying that in most cases, people who spend this money is out of that passion, that erotic feeling they have for somebody. That is what will push them to do that. And I think that you should not also make a woman a slave because you spend money on the woman. You should not also decide the woman's destiny because you spend. Somebody, you can be with somebody for a very long time, and the person says, okay, you are a nice person to be with, but not a nice person to settle with.
After eating the money.
No. We are shared. It's not just eating money. The woman also gave something. Huh? The woman was giving things. And maybe some of these girls have even aborted for you.
Possible. Okay. Then, yes.
Okay, you people are trying to convince me to come to your point.
No. I'm making you to talk more. It's those questions that I'm asking.
Is this man that wanted to enter? That's why I was trying to talk about that. So what I was trying to say is this. Look. We have treated women like rats. We have treated them like pigs. Come and see how some of these boys mount their after their frustration on these girls.
Okay.
Frustration.
Yes. I
think you spend money for persons to go to school. You are complaining.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
I think we should really bring a balance to this, because my own the observation also I have in the student milieu is also a wild one.
Yes.
No, because you might think some of these men truly like somebody. You understand? Sometimes let's not only think. I don't think sexual attraction has anything to do. Every man has sexual attraction. Because a man did not go to school and do all of these things, and he's liking the woman, they're having, guess their children are having sex in secondary school, not because the boys were giving them anything. I think we should bring a balance to this. And the moment we pass across a message that the exchange value for sex is money, I think we are doing something here, because if we don't bring a balance to this, Mr. Leo, the truth is I have seen many girls, they know they will not end up with the man. They know, even from dating, we see this with many university girls, many people that the man is, I always advise girls, there's a certain amount, let's be honest, let's have conscience.
Do you think the boys don't also know that they will not end up?
No, hold
on. They know. Let's have conscience.
They know. Let's have conscience. There's a certain investment that somebody is putting in you. I always tell people, I advise girls, avoid certain gifts because it can ensnare you. You understand? You know very well, how can a man take it all his life and put it like that? And that's why a girl lost her life in Bambili. They cut I think we heard the news where a man slaughtered the girl. When you see those kind of things, like you talk about emotions, men also have emotions. Let's not talk as if it's only women who have emotions, because at the end of the day, like the women, they know, like the women, they ask them out, they never say yes, they never say no. They are just there, making sure that they are eating their fish and meat, and let's go to Boulangerie, let's go to Santa Lucia, and all of these things. They want to enjoy all of this. That at the end, they will use now this statement that escape don't agree you. I don't don't tell you. Say so. I think
if a woman does not want you, you will know.
No, that's not true. I'm
telling you the truth.
No. I have a cultural view, because
you'll be catching the woman with different boys.
No, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, that's what happened. If you're talking about university sector, that's what happened.
We see how girls have become very updated in this thing. I'm telling you, girls have become very updated in this. I'm talking the university milieu here. You will see these people have their big fish and all of this. Even when they want to do all of this, sometimes they go far. I'm saying this because let the girls know that a man cannot be your father. Not be your uncle. No, he don't know you. We are not relate for no place. If they spend 2 million by the end of the year every day, you take him. And then at the end of the day, when now it's coming to the marriage part, you say, I not be there. You say, no, look, you have to be careful, because you might go free, but you're conscious. So these things are, we are walking in a world that we should not just...
But let me even understand something. Apostle Alfred Esingie, you said the man is sleeping with the woman and is enjoying the woman. So 2 million should be justified for sleeping with the woman. Is the woman not also, does the woman not need this
Does not enjoy the sex herself? Is it not mutual?
Are you not also satisfying the woman?
But this is the truth.
What is the woman giving you in exchange?
This is the truth.
Yes.
Men must know when a woman wants them or not.
Yeah, no.
I grew up in the university environment.
I was
there for more than 20 years.
Yes.
So I saw all these things you are saying. You just came there not too long. I was there for more than 20 years and I saw these things. When a girl doesn't like you, you will see it. She will be going out with other boys and you will be fighting with her.
But the question is, if she does not love you, should she be chopping your money?
Continue eating your money?
That's the question.
All those things are evil practices. Because you came and you were practicing evil. So be ready to get out evil out of it.
With the evil practices.
Okay.
Evil practices.
Mr. I, for one, I can not and will never invest in a lady that I am not yet married to. Frank is writing from AD now. Good evening. I think 2 years is okay to date before moving on to marriage. Good evening to you all in the studio. What if you marry a woman, educate her to her level, and she still abandons you? Timothy is writing from Douala. That's the topic for tonight. Good evening to you once more. I had a problem. I have a girl that I love so much. We are ready for marriage, but my mom doesn't want to see the girl. I believe it's God sent. Her family has taken me as their son. They are so caring to me. Please help me. I don't know what to do. Can you just call us after the program? Would you talk with some of the counselors here? Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love your program. I'm learning a lot. I'm Caleb, writing from Fundong. May God bless you. Thank you very much, Caleb. Mr. Leo, I greet you all. More grace to the great men of God. Please, my fiance is HIV positive. I don't know if I should marry him. Please help me. Call me after the program. I will get you connected to these counselors to talk to you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Special greetings to Apostle Tantoh. Please give him more time to talk. I love when his lectures. Thanks, okay? Good evening, sir. I love your program. More grace to you all in Jesus' name. Is Dennis writing from Lima. Good evening to you, Dennis. Good evening, brethren. I love your program so much. God bless. Is Kelvin writing from Boya. Good evening to you all in the studio. Please, I really need the help of that marriage counselor. Blessing is writing from Limbe. You guys should write to me using WhatsApp after the program. I will share the numbers with you. Reverend Tantoh, you have heard Apostle and the two apostles. Who do you think is going your way? Because it's not easier that a brother is struggling, mom is sick, everybody, the brother thinks that because the brother is working towards fulfilling destiny, that the man shall leave the mother and the father and cling to the wife. Yes, so that's where I'm investing.
The issue is that you can't be investing when you have not yet left. You are still the other way, so you can't be investing in someone you've still left. I think the essence of all of this is that people should learn to be level-headed in the actions they take and be able to also assume responsibility. By law even, I think the 1981 marriage ordinance, it calls everybody who collects something before marriage a depository. And the law says if you have collected something from somebody in contemplation of marriage, you have to pay back. Yes, that's what the law is very clear about it. You have to pay it back if the marriage transaction, I want to call it, does not work. So I think, one, we should look at it from a legal perspective. Two, from a moral perspective. You can't be taking things from somebody you think you will not marry and you are swallowing. You take it and swallowing, and at the end of it all, you say it's like this. You don't feel for the person, or I mean, the person's money was good when he was, in fact, what the man, a mechanic, his money was good before, in fact, when you were chopping. Then now that you have become a graduate, the mechanic, the mechanic's money is no longer the mechanic. In fact, he is too dirty for a husband. So I think some of these things is two-way. Men should be wise. You are not supposed to be spending on somebody who is not your daughter in the sense of the word. As Apostle Ambe said, you should spend, if you know that you are doing charity, if you just want to assist somebody, you want to assist a sister, it's good. But if you think I am spending on my wife to be, you pick your shocks.
Yes.
And if you also are receiving these things and deep inside of you, for me, I don't even because at that moment the lady may be thinking, I will marry, but the tides can always turn.
Yes.
And at a certain point in time, the man, maybe along the line, the man has had an accident and like, I know if he marry me, Ebwa. The man where the worker, so I know if he marry Ebwa. So the tides can always turn somehow. So the best thing is that people should make sure you are engaging into something which you are ready to assume the responsibility. The best of things is, if you are doing it, make sure you are doing it just as an assistant. Then you who is receiving, let it be very clear. And me, I can't have my daughter and I allow somebody else to be spending on that you want to marry. I will not accept such a thing. I will not, because tomorrow, many cases that have even ended in marriage, people who have taken wives who they sponsor, they are like looking at this is like a fiscal investment. They look at that woman as a car they bought. They want to treat the woman, say, you money, be buy the illness for you, be buy them for you. So you have to dance with you. The lady is no longer like a partner, it's like an asset in the house, which is not supposed to be so. So the lady who is also accepting, because some lady have long throat for money, greed, which is a bad thing. That kind of greed for money that somebody is spending. As suppose said, let it be. We're not saying that people should be greedy or should be crafty when they're in relationships. No, don't be crafty. But the level of sharing, the magnitude of what somebody gives you is a determining factor whether the person is actually investing, but investing is just a share of this thing. And it should not also be only one-sided. Somebody who is ready to share will not also be only be swallowing and be receiving all the time and all the time. I mean, you even be able to see that the person, however, in fact, you can be a student and the person gives you 10,000 from 10. Let a gift of 1,000 francs flow from you to the person. It will be an indication that when you end up having much, you'll be able to share with the person. But if you develop a long throat to always be there, you're only at the receiving end, and you're only expecting, you're only sharing, in fact, it's urgent 2K all the time. And as that my credit don't finish, it is I not get gas. Is it your father? It's not your father. Okay. So you stay away from that kind of thing.
Mr. Lo, are we saying that every relationship must end in marriage, even though
that's
they were
a different
intending?
thing.
No, wait.
The topic is heavy investment.
Yes. Now, every relationship must not end in marriage. Must not.
No,
we must have
the
that.
The question is, should you do? Where's the topic? Should we have heavy investment? Should you invest heavily in a woman or a man
because you marry?
Yes.
Because the issue is that the challenge with that
the
thing
issue is heavy investment.
Heavy investment.
Even if it's not heavy,
it's not about the
issue is that most of the time, I think, and the spirit of this topic is the person who ends up refusing to marry because he or she has become so upgraded. You become so upgraded, and
that's the wrong motives. Those are wrong motives now.
And the person who was spending on you is not of the lower class.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Liu. I love the program very much. I'm Danjuma Collins, writing from Banyo. Good evening to you, Danjuma. Good evening, Charles from Betua. The panelists should also understand in this day and age, many women also spend heavily on men, with marriage being used. But it's vice versa.
It's vice versa.
I've had a female friend use her civil service first paycheck to sponsor a guy, only to be let down, and it happens often these days. Yes, I know many similar stories. Mr. Liu, when I invite for a girl and I have a child with her and I see the red and yellow card for the girl, I will let her go. Okay? Oops. Good evening to you all. It's Solange from Douala. Please, can I get married to a guy I'm 2 years older than? Because I really do love him. Don't know, 2 years is not too bad, no? Yes. Daisy in Kumba. Good evening to you, Daisy, writing from Kumba. Good evening to you in the studio. It's not good to invest in a woman when you are not yet married to her, because they are full of betrayers. Matthew is writing from Bermuda. Good evening to you all in the studio. Your program is interesting. What about married men who invest in their side chicks? Are they investing to marry?
No, that's
yes, I'm sure that is just is for the pleasure. Good evening to you all in the studio. Belle Mercedes from Douala. I love your program. Thank you very much. Good evening. Mr. Liu, and to you all in the studio. Elvis Brown watching from Shell New Bell. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and the entire panelists of great minds with a very interesting topic as usual. I'm watching this program with my wife and learning. Aiden Vio, watching from Halifax in Canada. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program. Mr. Tor, writing from Garua. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Once more, please don't invest on a girl before marriage. I remember when I had my GCE O level and one man came to ask my hand in marriage, and I said he will sponsor me in school. My mom refused, saying that she would take charge of my education till the day he will come with the dowry. I was so happy because my mom guided on the particular area until I myself rejecting the man because I didn't study him well. I refused expensive things from him just because of the incidents that happened in Bambili some years ago. Please, my dear girls, friends, be wise. Don't take expensive things from people in the name of marriage. The topic. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please tell the man to check the topic. He has changed it. The topic still shows first topic. Okay. Yes. I don't know what happened with Eli. Mr. Liu, I'm called Nditabe from Bonaberi. I strongly suppose that our guys should stay away from sex and we owe the ladies nothing. Okay. Good evening to you all. Mr. Liu, I love your cap. Thank you very much. I love this program. I'm watching it live with my wife. This question is for Apostle Ambe. When you say it's not good to marry out of pity, what do you actually mean? Ray is writing from Pendamoko. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Now, which kind of cap be that? I like the topic. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. Thank you for the topic. Okay. I am Shako from Ambe. I will never invest or advise anybody to invest in a woman because God knows women are heartless and have no shame at all. Yes, men are not different. No? Good evening, Mr. Liu, and all the panelists on board. Very interesting program. Thank you all for the wise counseling. Apostle Ambe is making so much sense there. True life is all about taking risks, but there are some risks that can take you to your early grief, and investing on a human being is one of them. Talk more of a lady because the heart of man is desperately wicked. Thank you all. Elvis writing from, yes, many persons are asking which type of cap is this. It is from one of my brothers who lives in South Africa. We call him Kirikou Kaka. Tega Amazi is he brought the wife Vanessa Amazi brought the cap to me when she came visiting from South Africa. So this is a gift that they brought for me. So I'm enjoying because I have people in South Africa. Thank you very much, Tega Amazi, and to you, Vanessa Amazi. Yes, many persons ask questions to you, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, and Ngwa. It is very tricky.
Yes, a young man asked a question. What do I mean by getting married out of pity? There are persons you may not love, but they love you, and they are doing everything to satisfy you and make you cling to them. And you know very well deep within you, you have no future with them. If you marry such a person, you're marrying a person out of pity. You're not marrying them out of love. There are also persons who hang around you, they are interested in almost everything you do, but you don't see yourself finding a future with them. But they are so glued to you, so attached to you. You marry such a person, it's out of pity, it's not out of love. You're not going the same destination with the person, and you will face it tomorrow. And to you women also, when you fall in love with a man, you get desperate after him, even when you are seeing every sign. He's proving to you that he does not want you, but you keep forcing yourself until finally he will say, if you and you are not like you, you get good fashion. When you hear a man makes a statement like, I don't like you, but you get good fashion. I feel married because you get good fashion, and I say I really like you. That's marriage out of pity. Know that if you enter there tomorrow, the slightest error will be amplified. Of which, if he loves you, even your largest error will be simplified. So we are saying that don't take the risk of getting into a relationship where it is 90% win on one side and 10% on the other side. It's risky. Even if you are loving a man much as a woman, it should be at least 60-40 or 45-55. Not that thing that every angle, it shows that the man is not even interested in the thing. You are the one desperately pushing yourself into it. He doesn't bother about you. He doesn't bother to call you. Doesn't think about you. Doesn't give you a gift. You are the one pumping him with gift every day. He gets angry. You keep pampering him. He does every nonsense. You just accommodate it. And every of his mistake, you look for every means possible to try to patch it. Sister, that's kind of relationship. You are in a relationship when the man pities you. It's not because he loves you. That's what I mean. I'm sure I've clarified you.
Yes, but in this case, you are categorical. No extensive investments. But what of the case where you've invested, hoping that this person will last with you, and the person tells you openly that I'm not interested, I have to move on?
Yeah, if you're insisted, that's what I'm saying now. That's the pity I'm talking about.
What in the case where you have invested heavily, and the person pretends all along that they genuinely love you also, and immediately they get the advanced level, they graduate from ENS, they move to the US, and then they tell you that, sir, I feel that this thing cannot help. Yes, what do you do?
That's deception.
That's deception.
It's not pity, it's deception.
Yes, I'm not talking about the situation of pity again. I'm talking about real case scenario where a man genuinely is going out with a girl, invests, either sending the girl to ENS, opens a girl a big shop, sends them abroad and the host of others, and the girl actually tells the guy that I love you, and they're pulling on. And after this heavy investment, maybe sending the two brothers to Dubai or wherever, and then the girl now sees that, okay, my feet are on the ground, and then the girl tells you bluntly, calls you that, Apostle, I want more discuss. Meet me for Bonamusadi, and then say, you see, I love you.
To look about this because
let me
criminal case. It happens every day.
That's a criminal case. The fact that we haven't done anything about it does not mean that it is not a criminal case.
Let me say something with this. With that, I met a lady. She says she has 3 kinds of men. There's a shock, there's a sheik, and there's a chic. The sheik is the one that she loves because it gives him money. The shock is the one that she loves because the man makes love to her very well. The chic is the one that she admires. She's keeping this relationship to satisfy 3 different desires. There are very wounded girls outside there. One man cannot satisfy them.
Yes.
Very delicate.
No, they cannot. I know.
I met a lady who also called a man destiny helper. She's sleeping with a man, but she said this man is a destiny helper. We are saying things outside too, because we are just acting, we are just pretending not to say some things here. You are in that relationship sold out. The girl has calculated you. You are not fit for her to spend the rest of her life with you, but your money is good enough to take her to her destination. Have you ever drank a drug that you don't like the odor, but you know it's going to benefit you? That's how you drink it. This is how some girls manage some men. They lock their nostrils and they are drinking because they want to get well. There is something that drug is going to work inside your system that will heal you and make you become well, even though you don't like the smell. So this man has the finances that can take me to my destination, but I don't like him. He is that drug that can heal me of what I'm sick of, but he is not the kind of person I like the odor. So such a person is a destiny helper. One time, a particular concoction was mixed and given to me when I was not well. To be frank, I closed my nostrils and I drank it. It did well into my system. I didn't like the odor. Such a person is called a destiny helper. Girls may want to go to school, they want to travel abroad. I have seen girls who have slept with married men without the intention of getting married to them tomorrow, but they saw the man as a destiny helper to their next level.
Good.
So we must understand when these things are happening, you should be able to discern in the course of that relationship. There are signs, no matter how people pretend.
But
that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you're explaining the process. I'm saying about that you have gone through this, and this girl, the guy says, I can no longer pull on. What do you do?
You're asking me what should I do?
Yes.
I thought you were asking me to explain.
No,
okay.
no.
What do you do? Listen, there's something we call fate. F-A-T-E, not F-A-I-T-H. Fate is destiny. Some things you stumble on. If it doesn't work well, my friend, close that page and open a new page and move on. It's as simple as ABC. Okay. You can't be, how do I put it, hibernating on something that is taking you nowhere.
That you want to go and swim.
You kill yourself.
River
No, it's rubbish.
Okay. Yes, let's take the last intervention of Mr. Asanji Yvette.
Mr. Leo, in conclusion, if you want to take a risk, we call it risk, okay, whether it's from a woman to a man or a man to a woman, if you want to take the risk of spending or investing heavily on someone, please let it be that you're doing your goodwill gesture. Okay, let it just, in fact, have it in your mind that you're doing your goodwill gesture, so that if this person turns off tomorrow, he will not give you a heart attack. It will not. That means it will not be like you'll be crying the time you have wasted, the resources, the finances, every other thing. It's better to even cry the time to be crying on the time you have wasted, instead of crying for both time, resources, finances, material things. All of that is too much. So I want to encourage people, if you are dating, please, or you are in courtship and you want to take that kind of risk, either declare it that I'm doing it out of goodwill. Tomorrow, if you choose to go away, fine. If you choose to pay me back, fine. Or you go into an agreement with that person. If you want to invest on them heavily, okay, I'm investing on you. Tomorrow, when you start working, you're going to pay back. Or I'm doing this for the sake of the relationship. If the relationship does not work, fine. You go your way, I go my way. But have it at the back of your mind that anything can happen. The future is uncertain. Nobody knows the future except God. So in as much as you might have all the assurance here, even have family support like the case I'm talking about, family is supporting you, family is strongly behind you, the lady can still change her mind, and which is what has happened. And then worst of it all, some ladies too can be ungrateful. You are changing your mind about somebody that has invested on you heavily, and you're still telling them that they will see for wasting your time. Are you serious? If you want to look at who has wasted whose time and all of that, you know, it's you. And men should not go as far as buying relationship with money. This is one thing too. Please, money will never buy love. Money will never buy love. If you think that doing all of that is going to get the lady to love you, she might just be using you for scam. And to ladies that get into a relationship with the intentions that you will not marry somebody, please stop exploiting people. At least have some conscience. If you know that you will not end up with this person and that person is investing on you, better you suffer it now. Suffer with whatever you have, manage whatever you have. Don't exploit somebody that you will not marry. That is witchcraft.
The witchcraft, please. Beautiful evening to handsome men on this beautiful program. I'm Cynthia, writing from Nigeria. Man shouldn't allow love spend their money. As a man, if you imagine that after the investment on a girl and she turns you down, you will not take it easy. Please don't spend an amount that will affect you, okay? Greetings, I love your program so much. It's right for you, a man, to open up to a girl when you are ready for her, or tell a girl love you when you are not sure for her. Not too clear, bro. Joel is writing from Bamenda. I greet you all men of God. Please, I need a pastor Ambe to help me. My fiance is HIV positive and we are engaged. He's on antiretroviral drugs. I don't know if I should go on with the marriage. I love your program so much. Please, can you just call us after the program so that we can
let us know that particular question is very sensitive. So it's not good to talk in the public. Okay. They will talk to you privately.
Good evening, sir. Please, for your advice. I don't know what advice you want. Good evening, Mr. Leo, panelists of Prime viewers. Please, yes, we can invest. We should know that all the negative aspects come because both parties don't do it the right way. If both parties get the both families involved, then the issue of abandoning any of the parties will not come to play because some agreement must be done. Okay, Ngwa Walters writing from Bomenda. Yes, there are some that the family will even beg. The girl will say, Lala, good evening to you all in the studio. I like your program. It's quite educative. I think Pastor Ambe made it clear investing in girls without marriage is a total risk. She might decide to bounce you out anytime. Also, it's the parents' responsibility to sponsor your girlfriend. Naftali Kum writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Kum, and to all the panelists. I love your topic today. It's really educative. Special greetings to Apostle Ambe Francis watching from Italy. Good evening to you. Good evening to you all on Prime. Mr. Kum, there is no time limit for dating, and women should stop investing on women thinking they will marry us in return. Women, on their part too, should stop exploiting men financially. Some parents even encourage their daughters to do this since these men would take the responsibility of the parents. F2 Stanislas writing from Santa. Yes, in this case, what should the man or the woman do? They say, thank you for helping me all this while. I think I have to move on. You bless them now.
No.
They are man of God.
It's not correct. It's not correct. Just like what I said, I was just talking behind the camera, that some people, out of the fear that they have spent for them, went into marriage. They decide to finally go into marriage. They say, yes, I will, in the court and everything. And when they're in the marriage, they make the marriage very uncomfortable for you, and you take your hand and send them out of the house. So many people have done that. So we're not trying to say that just because a man has spurned to you, you just use your mind. And if you see that, truly it will not go, because like in some cases, some men are not really doing anything to make relationship work because they have money. You have only money. You don't have any other thing. Women don't need only money. Women need other things. Women need so many other things. And there are some other strong points that women need that you need to build up to. Don't just say that because I'm putting in money, When you're putting in money, work also on the other parts. Be a clean person. A clean person, know how to satisfy her needs, know how to take care of some other things. Don't just only say because I'm putting in money. That is how it is. Because a lot of these girls now, as we are talking, they will decide to say, okay, we'll marry. And when they marry, they go in, they still have other men outside. And it becomes a problem also to the society. And that's what's causing a lot of divorce in the society today. You must testify that divorce out here is because of that act. Because, okay, I am married to you out of pity, or I'm married to you out of fear because you have spent money on me, and then I'm in the marriage, and then tomorrow you have other 3, 4, 5 men outside.
Okay.
That's how it is.
Good evening to you all in the studio. Dating does not have marriage certificate. For me, I see no need dating for a long time. The truth of both sides will be good for the newly couple to discuss. Okay, Mr. Nubila John writing from Bamenda, my friend who is to be the manager of City Hotel, Old Town in Bamenda. I don't know whether you are still working at City Hotel. I hope you are doing good. Good evening to you in the studio. I'm really enjoying your program. Love always goes with sharing. So I think that a man can invest on a woman yet to marry, but there should be a level to which it doesn't exceed, because people change as time goes on. IT is Clifford. Okay, watching together with my mom and dad. Good evening to you, Clifford, watching from Bamenda. Yes, if this were to face you, but some girls, you've dated girls and they told you that they were no longer interested now.
Yes.
And you gave them some money. How did you take it?
Who gave them some money? Okay. I think personally, I'm one of the advocates. I remember when I had a program on how to have a successful breakup. I was attacked. People were like, how can the man of God be talking about breakup? Breakup is a very normal thing in a relationship. And if you understand the purpose of dating, you understand that even a breakup is a successful relationship. If you knew that you were entering into it to know whether you should marry the person. You see, Mr. Leo, I've counseled more than three ladies who tell me very carefully, and I want to say this because I'm sure this is my last words. I want to say this, we should be very careful. I've counseled 3 ladies who tell you, and if you date me, man, at this I get my picking, we know we say that especially in Munya, or I get my mamina, me I be the only person. So when you come, what they look at is whether you are able to take care of them and their mom. And I've seen this. A mother will not ask where the child is coming with rents, with stuff, and all of this. And I'm saying it because even some parents, that's why I even tell ladies, be careful. Dating and courtship, you just date you date somebody, after 1 week, your parents already know. Sometimes it's not even the girl marrying this man. Sometimes it's their family. Sometimes even the mother, all of those things. Let's be very, very careful. It's really, really heartbreaking when you have put in that. But a man should never think that the amount of money you put in equivalent to a person finally marrying you. And lastly,
13 years in a relationship.
You have come back to it.
And lastly, a lady should not. No. The thing is this: a lady should not also get up and then forget that men also have emotions. When that lady lost her life, we are talking about that the lady is gone. Let's be very careful because sometimes people can react.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I like the topic. It's so educative. It's Jude writing from Douala at Antre Matango, the only shoemaker. Good evening to you, Jude. I'm Dango Yvonne from Bamenda. As for me, parents are supposed to educate their girl child, not the boyfriend. Okay, good evening. Any woman taking money in the name of marry and does not go in is looking for bad luck. Mabu Paul writing from Miss Sage. Greetings to you all in the studio, sir. It's Brother Christian from Bamenda. I think dating process should take from 2 to 3 years before moving to marriage so that both of them can perfectly understand themselves, A to Z, okay? Talking about the HIV case may help someone else, please. Apostle, can you enlighten, okay? Just call, you write to me on WhatsApp. I'll send you Apostle's number. You talk to him privately. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I have been in a relationship for 10 years now, and I have a son with my boyfriend. I love him so much, but he keeps cheating on me. When I see him, he promised never to do that, but he keeps doing it. Please, I need your help in this issue. Martina is writing from Manfi. Martina, you need counseling. Good evening, all of you in the studio. I wish to ask, in a case where you have been in a relationship for long and whenever we are discussing, he will say that we should not be talking here when you have moved on with your life. What is this question all about? Is Blessing writing from Bomenda? Blessing, you guys should just call counsel or say they'll talk to you privately. Please, I'm watching the program, and I and my fiance is having to defend 12 years. So please tell us we live in Tico, Mr. Lifange. Okay, I don't know whether you think there's a difference of 12 years. I don't know what you mean. Call us. I'll give you their numbers. Good evening to you all. Please, if you have a man who has agreed to marry you and he has even seen my family members for the marriage right after 7 years in a relationship, just this February I heard he has 3 children with another woman. And when I asked him, he said that women charm him. And anytime he wants to tell me the truth, he is afraid to lose me. He is promising to get married to her also, but only knock door for the sake of the children. Our marriage is supposed to be in March. I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. Please help me. Please, I really need advice. Huh? She's a loin. Okay. Okay, you should run, eh? Good evening to you all. I'm married in Tico Ward, but about a man living with a man for 13 years, never open up to you like you don't know if that woman can dress up. You hide your money to your woman, no business to do with 4 children. Is that good? Thank you all. I like your program. Just call me. They will talk to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Daniel writing you from Yaoundé. I love the topic tonight. Never invest in a lady before marriage. Okay, I seen a man who sponsored a lady, and when the man lost his job, the wife abandoned him. Okay, not every relationship leads to marriage, and God didn't make our spouse known to us, so it's a trial and error thing. If you are not ready, to invest, as well as you can ask her for sex and then expect not to invest. You can eat in the restaurant without paying. Note, there is love in giving. Esther Benjamin from Jos in Nigeria. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love this program. Have people I would like to watch this program, but their work time does not match. So how can one rewatch the program? I'm Niba, writing from Kribi. 1 p.m. tomorrow, there's going to be a rebroadcast of this program. Good evening to you all, Mr. Liu. I love your program. Is Smith, writing from Diboncha. But Mr. Niba, you could also tell them to go to Facebook, our Facebook page, My Media Prime TV, and the program is on our Facebook page. They can watch it there. Good evening to you all in the studio. I must confess I'm enjoying the program. I want to find out from my elder brother what he was doing in the university for more than 20 years. Was he a student or a lecturer? If he was a student, what certificate did he obtain? Semva gave birth is writing from Yaoundé. Oops, the messages are just too many. Yes, what would you do?
No, I think there are issues that when they come up sometimes, rather than being too hard on yourself, it's better to dust yourself, get up, dust yourself, and go. Move in life, because if you want to, keep staying on the fact that you've spent a lot of money on a lady or you spend a lot of money on a man, it will be draining energy from you, and at times nothing good comes of all those regrets and the fighting and trying to kill. It's better you open a new page for your life and move on. That is the best way. If you want to say maybe you kill and go to prison, or you force the person and the person ends up getting married to you and you don't know good marriage, it is not going to be of help to you. So the best thing is that you move on with your own life.
We want to thank you all for coming and educating our public. We also want to thank the production team, Eli and Desmond. Tomorrow on Prime Hour, we're going to be looking at the increase in basic commodities in our respective markets in Cameroon. We also are going to be asking why the people of West Africa are so comfortable with the coup d'etats that are happening. We are not seeing them coming out to protest the fact that civilian, democratically elected officials have been overthrown. What is behind this calm nature of accommodating nature of West Africans with the new coup leaders? We are going to be discussing this with panelists, regular panelists, who are certainly going to answer present for tomorrow's edition of Prime. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.